because of her, and God willing, by anything that we can impart. And so that's her legacy. And I had a letter from a lady in Canada that said, you know, she may have affected many more people for the kingdom in her short 6 years than many of us try to strive for in a lifetime. So we can only believe that God, of course, has a purpose for all of us. And that was, you know, he had a purpose for her life.
Now, a lot of changes took place in your life, John, with this. You lost your job, or your job ended. Tell us what happened there.
Well, at the time, we were a subsidiary of Lockheed Martin Corporation, and they were wonderful to me, just absolutely wonderful. They totally dispelled the myth of an impersonal big corporation. But they were, within a year, divesting themselves of companies that were not in the defense business, which we were one. We were the computer business. And so we went up for sale, and General Electric bought the company, and it was right at the height of all the chaos and accusations that were going on in our life. And even though the company was very successful and doing well, and I don't know this for absolute fact, but I'm sure GE said, great company, but this Ramsey guy's a PR nightmare. We got to do something, and this is a good time to do it. So I was let go, basically, when the sale took place. And but again, Lockheed took just wonderful care of me, and I can't say enough good things about just the compassion they showed to us as a family. But nevertheless, it was my career was ended at that point, and very difficult to get reestablished for a couple of reasons. One, you're broken. I mean, you don't recover from the loss of a child in this manner quickly. You never recover. You get on with life. And it took me a long time to get to where I could go on with life, beyond just the mechanism of it.
So what are you doing now?
Well, I'm starting a real estate conglomerate. I'm actually remodeling a house. Step one, right?
Okay. Big word.
So, but I enjoyed doing that kind of stuff. So it's been fun, and
what's the status of the case right now? I mean, it's been 10 years. Is it kind of basically kaput?
Well, no, not at all. Wonderful things happened in that regard. We almost in the beginning knew that the case needed to be in different hands. The Boulder police had never investigated a murder. So our effort for, 3 years was to do whatever we could to help get that case moved to first to the district attorney's office. Then we were hoping it would get into the sheriff's department, which had a pretty good organization, we were told. And that finally happened, and that was an answer to prayer. The case was taken away from the police. And,
so they're still investigating then?
Oh, yes. The district attorney took the case away from the police, brought in 2 very seasoned homicide detectives, and put them on the case. And they started from scratch. There was no case file. There'd never been a neighborhood survey, all those basic things that should have been done, and they started to do them. And that was probably 4 years ago. The most significant thing that so far that has come out of their efforts, we always knew there was DNA evidence, but didn't know how much about it. We just knew it was there, and the police were discounting it. And through the effort of these men and the Denver Police Department lab, they were able to go back and extract DNA evidence from the evidence locker. And they believe now they have the killer's DNA without a doubt, they've told me. And so it became the most significant clue that they have. And so it's a tedious process. It's it's 10 years later, but with that DNA, they've told me that we will get our guy.
They will find him.
Well, as long as they tell me they will, I have full confidence these men. They're pretty amazing people. They said it may not be tomorrow, it may be 10 years from now, but ultimately we will get a DNA match, and that's going to
Let me
Yeah,
ask
yeah.
each of you this question separately, and almost as if you couldn't hear what I was going to say to her, and vice versa.
I never listened
Do
to
This is
you?
like the Miss America pageant.
You never listened to her anyway.
No,
All right.
so
all
it
right.
won't be a problem.
Patsy, do you want this person found?
Oh, absolutely.
And why?
Because I don't want this horrible thing that happened to us to happen to another child. I mean, we are told that a person that does such a heinous thing will not do it one time only, that he had very likely, and we know it's a he because DNA says so, very likely has done something like this before and will do it again. So unless he is already dead, now that we are in the CODIS national database, which just happened not too long ago, each time a felon's DNA is put into this database, it runs, runs against a match to see if it matches.
So it runs the gamut of all of these
Yes.
infractions.
Now, what we have to do is make sure that the database gets filled. And the trouble is, the states don't share information. There's not one criteria across the board. So it might be in Georgia that to have your DNA taken to put in the database, there's one set of criteria. And in Hawaii, there might be a different set of criteria. So what we need is a national law, actually, that will make that, like a felon, absolutely have to put their DNA into a database. And that needs to happen, and as soon as, there are a lot of incarcerated people right now that I'm told have not had their DNA taken. So even if we just DNA'd the current incarcerated criminals, that would be a tremendous shot in the arm.
This works both ways. It certainly will solve lots of crimes, but it'll also prove the innocence of
Exonerate,
people
yeah.
that are in prison.
I mean, you read that in the paper every day.
John, what about you? You want that person found?
Well, yes, I do, but I know it's going to be a traumatic ordeal for us. And a friend of mine recently said, maybe the reason God hasn't allowed that to be revealed is you're not ready for it yet. Boy, that's